Hey, welcome back to Veterans Rant, Rattle, and Roll. I am Sergeant First Class David L. Parker, retired. As you can tell, the studio's had a little bit of a makeover, had some equipment problems. Imagine that, right? Trying to do something and run into some problems. We got a better computer, we got better stuff. Hopefully, we're going to be at least as successful as we've been in the past. Welcome to the next edition, edition 5, episode 5 of Forgotten Truckers. Forgotten Truckers, if you haven't been here before, is brought to you by the manuals, the journals, if you will, that I wrote in March, April, May, and June 2003 as I volunteered from 10th Mountain, actually on 19 March, to go to Iraq to who knows do what with who does where. So far, we spent our first week, we went to Fort Bliss on the 23rd-ish of March. Then we went ahead and got to Kuwait on 1 April, and now we're just south of Baghdad somewhere. I looked it up, did some good research. We're about 460 miles into the country from Kuwait, where we took off from when we first started this convoy, where we got called a detail, and we were told, no, you don't get to know what's going on. So here we are. We're 9 days later. So it's taken 9 days to land in Kuwait and get ourselves up to Baghdad. Now, funny thing is we're all caught up with everybody. Baghdad is still open game. Nobody's taken it. It's, nobody's claimed it yet. It's not been liberated. All right. And we have been getting our butts kicked. We've been working all night long. We've been doing things for people that you would think maybe they should do for themselves. We are doing all kinds of different work. I'm checking one more thing here on my stuff to make sure we're still good to go. All right. Just ignore that. Just getting used to the new system. Bear with me. I am retired, right? That means I'm tired twice. Now, we've worked the 187, the Rock Assaults of the 101st. I salute that unit. They did their best to take good care of us. They really did. They really did their best to make sure that we were the best they could taken care of. Okay, they couldn't do a lot for us. They couldn't do a lot more than just, hey, we'll do the best we can and keep telling people you're here. I mean, I told you about the first sergeant who literally walked out in the middle of a road and put his hand up and stopped a fuel convoy and said, you will give us fuel. I mean, think about it. We're 9 days into this thing. We left Kuwait. We've driven from Kuwait. First, they drove us all over Kuwait because we're a detail learning how to do this job. Then we're carrying stuff to camp to camp to camp. And don't forget, they left us alone. We took a nap, woke up, and everybody's gone. Somebody put that in your book. Oh, I did. I put it in mine. Now, we're jumping forward here. We're going to go to April 10th, and we're going to get this thing going, okay? So I'm going to look down here, and I'm going to read right out of what I wrote. And then we're going to talk about it. Remember, if you've never been here before, or remember if you've been here before, excuse me, that I write this in 3 ways. One, as a 34-year-old E5 who came back in the Army because 9/11. Then from the perception of an E7 who is sitting in a platoon sergeant chair and several times had the honor of sitting in a first sergeant chair. And then as a retiree, how I look at it today. So let's go ahead. April 10th. Start the entry. It was so cold last night, I woke up just bouncing with the shivers. Had to go find another part of my patrol bag and then climb in it to warm up. Then crawled under the truck to sleep. Now, let me stop right there. That was dumb. I should have never slept under the truck. Then again, nobody's moving it but me, but it's not great to go. All right, keep reading. 0530, rise and shine. Need to load the trucks to carry supplies into Baghdad. Nope. Download, no birds. We are truck assaulting the 101st into Baghdad. Okay, let's do that. End of entry. Now, you understand what I just said? We were tasked to carry supplies into Baghdad after they went in on helicopter. I was in Desert Shield and Storm on the biggest air assault in history. And I guess they were going to repeat it in some level. But weather said, So they didn't fly. So they had to get from this marshalling area, which was wide open, with all these little truckers sitting over here. Oh, look, we'll just get them to give us a ride. Isn't that just perfect? Truck assault Baghdad. Well, that's what they did. I'm reading my notes. I was in shock when they came and woke us up telling us we had to drive into Baghdad. I vividly remember, I do, how the captain and the first sergeant found us. The first sergeant laughed and said, "Your bumper signs. You guys are the 11 Bravo truckers, right?" We acknowledged and got ready to carry them into Baghdad. We kept changing our signs. We kept changing signs on the front of our bumpers so that people would know it was us. Why not? I had to tell somebody something, right? Now, everybody wasn't 11 Bravo. We had artillery and some supply guys. I was the 111 Bravo, so I put the sign on my truck, all right? Now, it's early in the morning. We're outside of Baghdad. They can't fly the helicopters. They want us to give them a ride. And they've actually found us by the signs on our trucks. Maybe in hindsight, that wasn't a great idea. Now, as a old retired platoon sergeant, this whole thing just pisses me off. Because who was taking care of the soldiers? Well, we were taking care of ourselves. But that's part of it, but it's not all of it. Why? Why are we taking care of ourselves? We didn't have a chain of command. That's why. All right? Now, next entry, same day. Wow, that mission was too good. Got to our first objective, moved into position. We can see movement in the compound. I got to go in with the XO. Boom. Tanks opened the wall for us. Talk about a knock-knock. We took 3 POWs. These guys are Syrians. The Triangle of the Republican Guard is all over the place, but they aren't. Moved on to Objective 2. Nobody there. That was easy. End of entry. I remember watching that tank ram that wall. I don't even know if the word ram is good. I don't think ram explains it. How about just drove through the wall? 60 tons don't give a shit about Iraqi bricks. They really don't. Now, let's go ahead. Let's read the next entry. We emptied the trucks and headed back to the airfield for another unit. Moved them to their objective. 0130, still running missions. 15 hours straight. We leave the airfield with lights on, then we go back with black out. Thank God for my nods. I must thank Captain Jefferson for allowing me to bring them. Got back to the Alpha at 0500. 23 and a half hours of missions, need a nap. End of entry. 23 and a half hours. Go back, go back, go back. Now, it wasn't just drive up, put them on the bus stop, kick them out in a little area, and let them go do their thing. No. It was drive up, get off the truck, do whatever they were doing, get back on the truck. And then, oh, by the way, find your way back. Remember, no Blue Force tractor, no map, no radios, no air support, no nothing. Bunch of 5 tons rolling around Baghdad. We don't have a gunner up in the roof. We don't have anybody. It's me and a TC. It's 2 of us, each truck, 16 trucks rolling down the road. That's it. If the Iraqis would have had enough balls to fill up the rock glass for a shot glass, they could have really hit us good. But they didn't know. Thank God they didn't know. 23 hours. Now, in my entry, I want to thank my commander for letting me have my nods, because remember, my battalion command did not. Don't let them take that stuff. The lieutenant colonel did not. What the is he thinking? Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. All right? So reading some notes. We got back to the Alpha. Sleep was all we wanted, but it wasn't going to last that day. Early in the morning. Yep, I remember this. I talked about it in another episode. I was so tired. I mean, we're talking 2 o'clock in the morning. I've been driving since 5. We're talking, it's dark, and we've been going and going and going and going and going. Now, thank goodness. It even talks about it right here. There was a fuel site that we could keep going to, which we did. And it says 7 times. Wow. That's a lot of running around for fuel in one day. You understand, we worked a full day driving these trucks, dropping these troops all over Baghdad. And who knows it? You do. They don't know it. They don't care. Why would they care? They've been tasked to do a mission. They go out and do it. I'm not poking holes at them, right? Looking at things, 30 guys in the back of the truck. We did laps that day, somewhere around 13 laps. 45 minutes each way minimum. And once we got back to the Alpha, the units would literally be sitting where we just left from. Almost like we're a helicopter that doesn't fly. So we would pull back in, they'd load back up, we'd get off going again. Okay, 11 April, next entry. Got here at 05:30 this morning. Damn, I was whooped. 23 and a half hours straight and 3 tanks of gas. That's interesting. And hey, that's what I'm paid for. It is 900, a short nap because we have to move this unit to a place called the State Factory. Stop the entry. This was an amazing place. I look forward to telling you about it. Okay, keep going. Here we go again. Wow, this place is huge. I believe it would take a week for a battalion to clear this place. Photos and paintings of Saddam everywhere you turn. We hot-wired up 6 buses and 1 motorcycle for 1st of the 187th Infantry to use. Have not had a shower since Kuwait. Starting to smell dead. We got to the top of a fire hydrant. We got the top off of a fire hydrant and took a shower. Must have been 18 to 30 guys showering at the same time, and the spray felt damn good. Small armed fire from time to time. I got to pull guard on the wall. So tired, I had to stand on one leg from time to time. Don't want to be the guy who fell asleep on guard. CO gave us drivers a building to sleep in and said he would send for us when he need us. Good night. End of entry. I'm telling you, this complex was the biggest thing I've ever seen. Now, I've been to the boat docks, the shipyards, being at 88 November, the last 6 years of my military career. I've seen those docks. I've seen that area in Beaumont, Texas. This was bigger. Bigger. 2020, this summer, my wife and I went for a walk around the outside of Charlotte Speedway. That place was bigger. Bigger. And they're clearing this thing. Let me tell you what, it took a long, long time to clear it. And the funny thing is, I learned how to hotwire vehicles in Iraq. It's like we turned into a bunch of gophers and MacGyvers. Right? It was crazy. And there's more notes here I'm talking about. Can't describe how big it is. We went and tore the cushions out of 56-seater buses so we could make seat cushions for our trucks because, those seats suck. The walls are 20 feet high. There's a water tower. It was empty. I walked around the water tower, around it. It was 100 steps. But I remember how huge it was. By that time, the smell of ourselves was getting hard to deal with. Baby wipes and water weren't working out so good anymore, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next day. So let's stop for a second. We're 11 days into this thing. We've probably driven 800 miles. Now, here in the United States or on MSR or somewhere, 800 miles is nothing. Who cares, right? I'd ride 450 on my Harley from Colorado up to the Black Hills in South Dakota, Deadwood, South Dakota. Who cares? But in a 5-ton truck that's got a canvas seat over roads that suck, like Colorado suck, that hurts your butt. I'm just throwing it out there. All right? 12 April. Entry. Ram patrols today with this unit in the neighborhoods closest to the factory. 240 Bravos on the roof. Soldiers walking in front of the truck and along the sides. Not sure what we are looking for. Maybe we're just here to show them that we're here. Ram patrols with the squads from 0600 until 2000. The sun went down and so did we. End of entry. Well, it's a straight day. It's a straightforward day compared to most days. But did you catch that? My driver butt is driving this 5-ton from 06 in the morning to 2000 at night. Now, it wasn't one patrol. We'd go out with a group, and we'd come back. The next group would be ready to go out with a group, and we'd come back. And go out with a group, and we'd come back. Guess what? That's life. That's the Army. So be it. Whew, but I got tired of driving that damn truck. Let me tell you what. It was an interesting sensation because here we are. You know, we're not exactly up-armored vehicles yet. Those haven't come into the mix. And we're driving around Baghdad, knocking these things out. And we're just doing what we got to do. And your nerves are on end because you're not really sure what's going to happen next. How could you be? Who told you what's going to happen next? We don't know. All right, 13 April. Okay? Entry. Thank God, good sleep, wonderful sleep. Almost 13 hours of uninterrupted sleep. We got up at 03:30 to leave again at 05. The commander told us mission canceled, go back to sleep. Well, yes, sir. If it weren't for my bladder screaming at me, I would have slept until the rest of the day was gone. All right, end of entry. Now, it's been 9 days since I've had a real good sleep. 9 days since I slept till I didn't want to sleep. 9 days. I slept on a gurney with a picture of Saddam Hussein right there to my right. And I mean just big. Bigger than my board. If you're watching the video, bigger than this board. Saddam's freaking face, right? Next entry, same day, 13 April. No idea what is coming next. Small arms fire all around the area, but none in the compound. This job has to be the hardest job I've ever had. Every day we drive mission after mission. We get to the objective, dismount, clear the objective with them, then either carry them to the next objective or return to the last place we were to pick up another unit. Funny thing is, we do this without an escort. I'm amazed we have not lost anyone or gotten lost ourselves. No maps, just better remember. Just have better remember. 214 staff sergeants doing one hell of a job at that. All I have to do is keep finding supplies and ammo. End of entry. We're still on 13 April. And it's the same stuff. Now, we got some sleep, so that's great. But we're rolling again. We're rolling, right? Now, it's getting harder for us to get supplies because the units are getting more spread out, because they're having a harder time getting supplies. So grabbing cases of water isn't quite as fast as it used to be, so it's mission number 1. We're snatching wherever we can. MREs and ammo are mission number 2. Many times we not only had to feed and water ourselves, but we had to feed and water the troops that we were carrying. We had to keep the soldiers in the back of the truck from dehydrating. So we did a lot to make sure we had something to drink. I think that they were sort of moving faster than the supply chain could keep up. All right? Continuing 13 April, next entry. Think I will take a shower sometime today and write more in detail about some of these missions. First, I wanted to get another shower. Shower canceled. Imagine that. Have a new mission. We are to go back to the Alpha Alpha and move a brigade headquarters to its next location. We are moving 2nd Brigade. That's 3rd to 502nd, 2nd BCT. Maybe I can get off this truck. Change my sign today. It now says 5-ton, $250,000, 78 gallons of gas, $300, driven by 11 Bravo, priceless. Have had a lot of great comments from lieutenant colonels to privates about our signs. Everyone has one on their truck now. Word of us is getting around. More people are calling us 11 Bravo truckers. How funny. We are sitting in a small parking lot in Baghdad, waiting for whoever uses us next. The brigade headquarters isn't moving for a while. Just had a captain from 7th Cav come over and shake our hands. He said, "You 11 Bravo truckers are doing a great job. Keep it up." We all laughed. End of entry. So we're going to do one thing, and they say, "No, go do something else." We go to this brigade headquarters. It's just in a building. So we're literally sitting in a parking lot of what you could call a convenience store in Baghdad. Just sit in there. Sit on the hood. If I had any way to have a cigar, I probably had one. Just chilling. Humvees driving up and down the road. Tanks driving up and down the road. Everybody doing everything. And here comes this captain. We're just hanging out with him talking. Now, I did later find that 7th Cab was just, he wasn't from 7th Cab. Or, I can't remember. Never mind. You know what? I didn't make good notes on that. It's very interesting. I'm looking at the notes here. I think about that now as a retiree, and they have a code in the military that unfortunately came too close to my life one time called Dust One. Duty status unknown. Dust One. Where soldiers vanish. MIA, POW, just vanish. Several years from these entries, that's going to happen to some people I personally know in a very bad situation. I'm not here to talk about what happened. Ironically, it was 431 Infantry, the unit that I was in when I volunteered for this mission. But we were sitting in the middle of nothing. We were easy pickings, and I'll admit it. I had my weapon on me at all times. I kept my gear on at all times. Maybe I didn't keep my helmet on all the time. Maybe I had a PC from time to time. But I was looking for a fight. But I was one of a few looking for a fight. The rest were looking for a nap. This could have been bad quick. And most people don't, if you haven't been there, you don't understand. Everybody over there has a weapon. Everybody. And they have a weapon for their weapon. It's not like here in the States where people who like guns have guns, and people who don't like guns are not having guns. Everybody has a gun. Everybody. And 61 months overseas, I don't remember ever being in a house or around a house or a tent that didn't have guns, ever. These people are armed. They could have put a hurting on us quick if they'd have had the balls, or at least the intel. I mean, later on, they start showing that they can watch and pull it apart. But it was definitely something that should have not been done. I mean, we're walking around town. You know, I'm watching NCOs walk around town. All they're carrying is a 9mm. They don't even have their gear on anymore. I'm not talking about the truckers. I'm talking about soldiers and other units. You got officers out walking the villages, the mahallas, right, with 9mm and no M4s and no helmet and no gear. It's like they're on a picnic. So if you're out there having a picnic in Baghdad, no wonder you don't notice that there's truckers missing. Next entry, same day, 13 April. Lots of U.S. military vehicles moving up down these streets. Civilians are looting anything that's not nailed down. I gave some mail to a chaplain to mail home to let my mother know I'm alive. All right, end of that entry. I remember giving that mail. I remember giving that stuff to that chaplain. He was a major. And that was nice to be able to do something like that. But I don't know if I can paint the picture. Yes, I can. You've seen it right now. This is September 2020, and people are looting in America in some different places for their reasons. While the Iraqis weren't burning it down, they were stealing everything, requisitioning everything, recycling everything, whatever word you want to use. I watched Iraqis walk out with toilets. I would learn over the next few years of being there that a toilet's a big deal. Refrigerators, tables, it didn't matter. Iraq at that time, and I believe it still is today, but at that time and all the years that I've been there, it was definitely a case of the have and have-nots. If you have, you have it. If you have a toilet. If you don't, you got a hole in the floor. And that's pretty much equal across the board. You either got it or you don't got it. If you don't got it, you really don't got it. And they were taking everything. Everything. They were taking stuff that I can't imagine what they were going to do with it. Of course, at that time, I didn't know how industrial, how well the Iraqis can literally use anything. I mean, it's just going to be a couple years from now that I'm going to be on a patrol in Khatami, Iraq. I'm going to pop a flat tire, and 3 Iraqis in a shop are going to fix it. Just like that. Change it on my truck, and I'm gone in 20 minutes. The mechanics on the motor pool couldn't go that fast. I mean, it's these folks are entertaining. They're interesting people. They literally have nothing, and they know how to make something out of it. As I like to say, they can take chicken shit and make chicken salad out of it. Now, I'm not being facetious. They work hard. They have nothing. They really, really have nothing. Even the people in the United States that have nothing sometimes have more than these folks have nothing. But if they would have just turned their focus on myself and those other truckers, this story would have never been heard. I mean, as a previous platoon sergeant and a retired senior NCO in the Army, we could have disappeared and nobody would have known. Nobody would have had a clue. Nobody would have looked for us. Nobody would have done nothing. And I mean nobody would have done nothing. Because they wouldn't have known. It'd have been like years later, 2012, when I'm in Afghanistan, and we find an MRAP downtown in, what was the name of that town? I'm sorry. It's just northeast of Khatamiya. Doesn't matter. Near Camp Nathan Smith. And we find an MRAP on a car lot. That's what would have happened to us. You'd have found the 5 tons on car lots. All right, next entry, same day. I must remember what it felt like not to have a chain of command. Just 3 sergeants and 2 staff sergeants to do it all. But we are getting good at getting ammo, food, and whatever we need. Even made friends with a friendly lady sergeant from the cache today. Glad I had a shower yesterday. I never thought I'd miss having a platoon sergeant or platoon leader. Hell, a first sergeant or a commander. Right now, we have none of that support, and I miss it. The fact that I am the loudest NCO in the group is weird. I will never forget these guys. I have all their names written down in the journal. End of entry. It's true. I do have them. I will not give you their names. If they reach out to me one-on-one over the next few years, then maybe. But I don't feel it's my place. I'm reading these notes. Yeah, it's nice to make myself a little friend there. It's not part of the book. You become really focused on how to take care of your troops. When you're a young E5, okay, an old E5, your job is, as a team leader in the infantry, is take care of soldiers. And that's all you do. So while, yes, this book is me bitching and whining about not being able to have what I wanted, it was making sure they stayed fed, watered, and safe as possibly could be, right? It's just interesting that how much we didn't have. It's interesting how we got to know each other, all right? Next entry, we're still on the 13th. Now, there's a lot of notes. I'm not reading them to you. But next entry, just got back from loading and unloading this truck 3 times. We carried a forklift and crates of Chemlights, not to mention many trucks worth of stuff to this BSA. Now I feel like a true driver detail. Sun is going down. Today is the first day since we got to Kuwait that we have had less to do than we had time to do it. At first, we were all going nonstop. Now it is slowed to a crawl. Today I really saw how the other half of the Army lives. The non-combat support side. We loaded truck after truck while watching a unit play football in civilian clothes and barbecue chickens. They're having a party while we work and eat MREs. I'm getting really good at lesson on why grunts hate everyone in the military. Be who or hang up the uniform. Remember, I was just a pissed off E5. End of the entrance. So I remember this day, these Chemlights. I remember that we were doing a lot of moving of supplies, and we would get them sometimes when we run into these supply sergeants that would just freak out and they want it stacked over here, stacked over there. You know, it's not like they know anything about us, so they don't care. We show up and they're like, download it. You know, we could have been killed downloading a forklift off a freaking 5-ton, but we figured out how to do it. Found a ramp, found a way, right? And we're moving stuff all over the place. I just can't paint a picture of how much we were driving. I mean, we were driving every single day. Now, again, this entry just said we had more time off today than normal. But an average day for us, it's only the 13th, was about 15 hours. That was pretty normal. 12 was slow. 10 was like, what the hell happened, right? I mean, it's the notes are talking about driving up and dropping off a load, picking up troops, driving up, dropping off a load. A lieutenant got us lost, right? And it talks about how in 3 years from now I'm going to be the PSD on a Fulberg Colonel's squad in his PSD platoon, and I'm looking at it. It's just interesting, all right? So we've only talked about 3 days. Now, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th. We drove out of, 96 hours. We drove 60 of them, moving people around, doing supplies, doing stuff, just going from pace to pace to pace. Now, you would think, just by listening to me talk about this, you would think that we must have had a chain of command. We had somebody detailing us. No, in retrospect, it was those stupid signs. We left them dumb signs off the truck and thought if I wouldn't have been such a hotter head than I am now, we probably would have been left alone, which could have been a bad thing, I guess. But it is what it is. And it isn't what it isn't. And what it wasn't is not good. So 4 days we are driving our butts off. All right? So we have talked now from March 19th, again, all the way to April 14th. And a lot more interesting stuff is coming. Do you understand why I'm sharing this? I'm sharing this because I want you to know that Veterans Rant, Rattle, and Roll is all about stopping, preventing, putting an end to 22. Every one of us faced some weird stuff in our time in the uniform. Every one of us did some great stuff. We did some outstanding stuff. Even if you wore it for 6 weeks, wore it for 36 years, I don't care. I want you to keep on fighting a good fight. I want you to stay with us. Don't check out. As the poet says, don't go into that good night. Don't do it. Call the VA. Call somebody. Send me a message on Facebook. Send me one on veteransrantrantroll.com. Whatever you want to do. Please, keep fighting a good fight. I made it through this stuff. I made it through 1,000 things. You made it through your stuff. You can make it through 1,000 things more. Veterans are some of the most unique, amazing people in our country, in our society, on our planet. Veterans of all militaries are amazing human beings because somehow, some way, some shape or form, you stepped up, you raised your hand, you put your toes on the line, and you wrote a check that included up to in your life for somebody else. In today's world, where most people won't even give you a soda, that's a huge check. So please, this is Veterans Rant, Rattle, and Roll asking you, do not give in. Do not give up the good fight. So we've talked over the last month from Fort Drum to Fort Bliss to Kuwait. Now we're in Baghdad. We're still here talking. I look forward to seeing you next week. Between now and then, keep up the good fight. Keep moving forward. Please don't give in to the demons. The demons suck. All of it sucks. I get it. Keep fighting. Put your toes on the line. You can do it. Keep hanging in there. Until I talk to you again, this is Sergeant First Class David L. Parker, retired, signing off.